TomoNews presents North Korea.
North Korea wants China to stop calling Kim Jong-un fat. Living the life of an absolute dictator can be rough on the waistline. Just ask North Korean dear leader Kim Jong-un. Kim has been packing on so many pounds that even China has been taking notice, with Chinese netizens dubbing him Kim Fatty III. Other popular nicknames for the lumpy leader are Kim Fatty Fat and Kim Abundant III. Well, Kim ain't having that. North Korean officials have asked their comrades from the north to stop with the name-calling before heads start to roll. Apparently, the tons of fun tyrant has ballooned from binge eating and drinking to help deal with fears of assassination and his insomnia. It probably also doesn't help that the double-chinned dictator consumes massive amounts of Swiss cheese. Fatty Fat has even reportedly asked scientists to develop a diet pill that works without diet or exercise. Damn! North Korea should export that pill to the US. As for the Chinese, the 2-ton totalitarian should just nuke them.
Some 80 people were publicly executed for minor crimes in North Korea on November 3rd. South Korean media reported that about 10 people each were killed in 7 cities, including Wonsan, Cheongjin, Sariwon, and Pyeongseon. In Wonsan, most victims were charged with watching or illegally trafficking South Korean videos or being in possession of a Bible. It was reported that 8 people were tied to stakes, their heads covered with white bags, at the Shinpung Stadium in Wonsan, before they were executed by machine gun. Some 10,000 people, including children, were gathered by the authorities to watch the execution. According to South Korean media, these were the first known large-scale public executions in the Kim Jong-un regime.
Sleepy general deemed unworthy of life in North Korean workers' paradise. Defending North Korea from real and imaginary enemies is tiring. Defense Minister Hyon Yong Chol was reportedly a bit sleepy one day, so Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un put him to sleep permanently. North Korea's now ex-defense minister was reportedly purged and executed in late April. And of course, this being North Korea, a simple firing squad just wouldn't cut it. Hyon Yong Chol was allegedly fired in an open-to-the-public event by an anti-aircraft gun that shot him to pieces from a distance of about 100 feet. Rumors claim the former defense minister had complained about Kim's rule and/or disobeyed some order from the pudgy-faced dictator. But more than one report indicates the real crime the 66-year-old general was guilty of was falling asleep during one of Kim's marathon speeches, which is of course punishable by death. How disrespectful. Guards! Pyom becomes the latest of around 70 high-ranking officials reportedly put to sleep by little Kim, with other victims including his aunt, the actual sister of his daddy Kim Jong-il, who was allegedly poisoned for complaining about the execution of her husband, Jang Song-taek, the former number 2 leader of North Korea. Jang was, in a disappointingly uncreative manner, unfit for the democratic, happy, free workers' people's awesome Republic of North Korea, simply shot by a firing squad. What was she complaining about? Some people have no sense of gratitude.
Death by flamethrower! Just another creative day in the awesome Democratic People's Republic of North Korea.
It's already well established that newly installed North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is an amazing man. The new dear leader is, like his dad, a very talented individual. He's also friends with major US celebrities such as Dennis Rodman. Plus, without ever having served in the military, he rose to the rank of general and is described by his fellow generals as incredibly brilliant and creative, especially when it comes to executions. Now, firing squads have been in vogue in North Korea for decades. But this year, bullets are so 2000 and late.
New reports say Kim's homicidal creativity reached new heights after he recently ordered enemy of the state Oh Sang-hong executed by flamethrower. Death by flamethrower has now become the second most inventive North Korean execution method after an army vice minister was blown up with a mortar round in early 2012. Baby Kim even sent an ex-girlfriend to her death for violating anti-pornography laws. She was allegedly shot by a firing squad, but that was last summer when firing squads were still hot. Are there limits to Kim's executional creativity? How about death by kimchi overdose? Or maybe strap a dude to a no-long missile test fire? Ever since Kim's uncle Jang Song-taek fell out of favor, North Korean watchers just aren't sure what's going on in this Stalinist dynasty. Is little Kim insane, or does he just want us to think he's crazy? No, he's probably completely crazy.
American hipster sentenced to 6 years in North Korea labor camp for ripping up his visa. 24-year-old Matthew Todd Miller of Bakersfield, California, will spend the next 6 years doing hard labor at a North Korean prison camp. His crime? Ripping up his visa so he could spend some time at a North Korean prison camp. Matthew arrived in North Korea in April after spending the last 4 years teaching in South Korea. He reportedly tore up his visa as soon as he got there and asked to be arrested so that he could check out of prison. He got his wish and spent 4 months awaiting trial. On Sunday, he waived his right to a lawyer and received his formal sentence. 6 years at a forced labor camp. Matthew has now changed his mind about his little experiment. He says he's asked the U.S. government to intervene and has written a letter to President Obama. He hasn't gotten a response yet. But he's one of 3 Americans being detained in North Korea, and a U.S. National Security Council spokesman says that the White House is closely following all 3 cases. Matthew planned his trip with Yuri Tours, a travel agency that specializes in trips to North Korea. Yuri Tours says they weren't expecting him to behave like he did. You mean you didn't foresee your client tearing up his visa in hopes of getting arrested and spending the better part of a decade in a labor camp? Weird.
What we know about Kim Jong-nam's alleged Indonesian assassin. News of the apparent assassination of the North Korean leader's estranged half-brother in Malaysia has made global headlines. Now, increasing information is being released about the women suspected of poisoning Kim as he waited for a flight to Macau. One of these women is Indonesian citizen Siti Aisyah. After reviewing security camera footage, Malaysian police tracked down and arrested Aisyah and another suspect. The Indonesian Foreign Ministry says Aisyah is 25 years old, from Serang City in far western Java, and holds a passport that was issued in West Java. In 2009, while working at a clothing factory in Jakarta, she married her boss and the pair had a son. 3 years later, they divorced, after which she began an affair with another man. Kim's killing is thought by many to be the work of North Korean agents, yet Aisyah's former father-in-law told reporters she cannot speak English and works as a humble shopkeeper in a small town, arguing she'd unlikely to have knowingly been involved in an assassination plot. Media have speculated she was an unwitting tool of the North Korean state. Under questioning, Aisyah claimed that a man at a nightclub who claimed to work for a TV prank show offered her $100 to take part in a prank on a man at an airport. That man, of course, would turn out to be Kim Jong-nam. After the event, Sitri and her boyfriend escaped by taxi. She was arrested just after midnight on February 16th. The investigation is ongoing. Runaway North Korean soldier kills 4 in China. China has lodged a formal diplomatic complaint to North Korea after a North Korean soldier crossed the border and killed 4 Chinese citizens in late December. The runaway North Korean soldier crossed the Tumen River into a township in the border city of Helong in China's Yanbian Korean Autonomous Prefecture on December 28th. He reportedly broke into the home of an elderly ethnic Korean couple and shot them dead. He then entered another elderly couple's home and beat them to death with his gun. He also stole 100 renminbi and some food from a third house and wounded a villager there. He was later shot and wounded in the stomach by Chinese soldiers and police as he tried to flee near the Tumen River. The soldier remains unconscious at a local hospital. A spokeswoman for China's foreign ministry said Beijing will handle the case in line with relevant laws.
North Korea's vice premier executed for insubordination. North Korea's vice premier Cho Yong-gun was executed in May for insubordination the latest in a series of high-profile executions under Kim Jong-un. According to Korea's Yonhap news agency, 63-year-old Cho Yong-gun had voiced frustration over Kim's forestry policies. Cho reportedly also exhibited poor performance at work, including falling asleep during military parades attended by Kim. South Korea's Unification Ministry said that Cho was last seen in December during the anniversary of Kim Jong-il's death and had since disappeared from the public eye. On Wednesday, the Yonhap news agency's report cited an unnamed source who said Cho had been executed by firing squad in May. Former defense chief Hyon Yong Chol was reportedly executed by using a large-caliber anti-aircraft gun in April, just for falling asleep during a military event. An unidentified North Korean defector told CNN during a May interview that Kim will lose power in 3 years if he keeps executing high-level officials. The defector said that Kim executed not only the officials but their entire families, including children. He also claimed that Kim doesn't know how to be a leader, that he doesn't understand politics, economics, culture, or diplomacy.
Missing U.S. citizen was taken by force to North Korea. Reports say a former Mormon missionary from Utah who was abducted by North Korea in 2004 has been forced to serve as Kim Jong-un's personal English tutor. David Snedden was last seen hiking in China, where he was studying Mandarin. He was already fluent in Korean, which he learned during a Mormon mission to South Korea. The startling claims about Snedden's whereabouts now have been made by South Korea's abductees' family union. The union's president said Snedden now works as an English tutor in Pyongyang and has a North Korean family. According to Chinese authorities, Snedden likely died in a hiking accident, but his family back in Utah aren't buying that explanation. They believe the revelations that he was abducted and taken to North Korea. Sources claim Snedden has 2 kids with his North Korean wife, and that he has even taught English to Kim Jong-un. Snedden, then aged 24, was last seen hiking the Tiger Leaping Gorge in China's Yunnan province. The area is near the path of a so-called underground railroad used by North Korean refugees to escape to a third country. North Korean agents are believed to operate in the area with China's blessing. Snedden's parents have never accepted China's explanation for his disappearance, and let's face it, this wouldn't be the first time North Korea abducted someone to serve the Kim family.
Missile test fail ruins eternal president's birthday. North Korea's birthday celebrations for Kim Il-sung turned sour as the pariah state tried unsuccessfully to launch a ballistic missile. U.S. defense officials said the failed launch was detected and tracked by the U.S. Strategic Command on Thursday. The news is a setback for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, as the reclusive nation today marks the 104th anniversary of his grandfather's birth. Citing military sources, South Korea's Yonhap news agency said the missile that failed to launch was most likely a Mushudan. The Mushudan, also known as the Mirim, No Dong-bi, and BM-25, is an intermediate-range ballistic missile. Yonhap said Thursday's unsuccessful launch was the first time North Korea had tested the Mushudan. The single-warhead missile, which is based on a Russian R-27, can carry an estimated payload of 1.2 tons. The Mushudan has an estimated range of 2,500 to 4,000 kilometers, meaning it could strike South Korea, Japan, or U.S. military bases in the Pacific Ocean, such as on Guam. This isn't the first time the Supreme Leader's birthday celebrations haven't exactly gone off with a bang. In 2012, North Korea also failed to launch a long-range rocket on Kim Il-sung's birthday. Seems like fireworks just aren't good enough for the eternal president of the republic.
Crowdfunded revolution. Give us your money and we'll free the people of North Korea. How much would it cost to overthrow North Korea's repressive government and oust leader Kim Jong-un from power? One group of covert multinational activists say they can pull off the coup for around $10 million. Their not-so-covert Indiegogo page outlines the plan and needs your money to 1. Establish a strong communication network inside North Korea, and 2. Connect North Koreans with the outside world. The whole thing is organized by a group who call themselves Freedom Now and use aliases and stock photos of a confident businessman and a serious Korean man for the Indiegogo campaign webpage. You still think these guys are legit, right? For $500, you can help bribe the police. Want to receive regular updates on the progress? That'll cost you $15,000. They've already raised $60 out of the $10 million goal. That's like 0.0006% of the way there. That's not even counting their parallel fundraiser on CoinFunder where they have $0. Granted, there's still plenty of time to contribute, but in reality you might make more of a difference by slingshotting your money into the ocean. With a bit of practice, you just might land a coin or two on North Korean soil.
North Korean students required to get the Dear Leader due. A new hairstyle, circa mid-90s, is sweeping the nation of North Korea. Kind of. Dictator-in-chief Kim Jong-un is forcing all male university students to get his haircut, the Dear Leader due. North Korean men, who previously were able to choose from 10 fashion-forward hairstyles, will now get to choose between the Kim Jong-un, the Look I'm Tall, or the kimchi. Those who choose not to get the cut will most likely end up getting the cut. It won't be long before we see others sporting the dictator do when entering North Korea. No doubt Kim's ultimate plan will be to suggest the killer cut to North Korean women and children too. Wonder where else we'll see Kim's stylishly luscious locks pop up.
Student makes melodramatic North Korea confession. The Oscars may well be over for another year, but it seems like North Korea didn't get the memo. Authorities in the pariah state paraded an American student it has detained since January before the cameras yesterday. University of Virginia economics student Otto Warmbier confessed to stealing an item bearing a political slogan from a Pyongyang hotel. The 21-year-old put in a performance that could have given Leonardo DiCaprio a run for his money for Best Actor. Warmbier said he took the item because he'd been promised a used car by a church leader in the US in return for a trophy from North Korea. He called the theft the worst mistake of his life and a severe crime against the state as he begged for forgiveness. North Korean media said in January that Warmbier had committed a hostile act against the state, tolerated and manipulated by the US government. Foreigners arrested in North Korea are often made to confess their crimes in front of the cameras. But most of these productions are so transparent, they're unlikely to earn a nomination for Best Foreign Film. The White House said it was aware of Warmbier's situation and was working to secure his release.
Dear Leader book reveals North Korea honey traps. North Korea, dubbed the Hermit Kingdom in the early 19th century by Westerners attempting to infiltrate Asia for trade, is still the world's most isolated country. Approximately 24 million people live in the totalitarian state where foreign media is forbidden and contact with foreign tourists is strictly controlled. Yet, Jang Jing-soon, author of the memoir Dear Leader, claims that the North Korean regime hasn't been as belligerently blind about its international neighbors and has, in its own way, attempted to control the activities of visiting foreign politicians, journalists, and businessmen. According to Jiang, North Korea's honey trap plan, established by former leader Kim Jong-il, was to set up foreign dignitaries with female spies posing as translators or aides. Their job was to sleep with such men and become pregnant. Many of the men returned home and then received a phone call informing them that their North Korean lover had become pregnant. The idea was that the North Korean regime would then be able to emotionally blackmail the victims, compelling the men to hold an interest in North Korea's future plight. Politicians caught in the honey trap would then have an interest to protect and support North Korea in their own countries or at the UN. Entrapped journalists would also have an incentive to write positive articles and reviews about the country, and businessmen would invest money into the country's crippled economy. The children of these unions would then be raised and indoctrinated with North Korean ideology, before being sent abroad as spies or to lure other powerful men into protecting North Korea. Of course, North Korea is most interested in monitoring its nearest neighbors, South Korea, Japan, and China. Japan's Socialist Party has denied any of its members have fathered children in North Korea.
Kim Jong-un offed his uncle Jang over business deals. Apparently, Kim Jong-un executed his uncle Jang Song-tak because he was jealous of his uncle's size. Well, the size of his uncle's bank account due to export profits in coal, clams, and crabs to the Chinese. The North Korean military was ordered to retake control of rich crab and clam fishing grounds seized by Jang, but were badly defeated by Uncle Jang's loyalists in a firefight. Kim sent in more troops, who finally retook the fishing grounds. Soon after, Jang's two top lieutenants were executed in front of a firing squad of anti-aircraft machine guns. Having his forces humiliated was the last straw. When it's business, Kim doesn't mess around. Guess that's why ramen sponsors for the gangbang in Pyongyang pulled out.